Peppa, we're in the middle of a battle. Should I start?
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive. I'm Hannah.
I'm Shannon.
I'm Shelby.
Okay. Do we have any announcements?
It's St. Patrick's Day!
Yeah!
Woo! Aaron Cobra!
Yeah.
Do we have
I
any
say
announcements?
that in such
really
a Midwestern
quickly?
accent, it makes me so sad.
It's fine.
Aaron Cobra!
Okay, that was
Ireland
Minnesota.
forever.
That was Minnesota.
That was
Yeah,
so
it was
Minnesota.
still the Midwest.
I don't sound like that. I sound like a hick. I don't sound like that.
Listen,
Minnesota sounds
the Midwest contains
like
multitudes.
Okay, do we
Except
have
for
any
Ohio.
announcements?
Picks from Sweden.
Do we have any announcements, please, God?
No.
No.
Okay. Mine is just that I have to get a root canal tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, and then
And-
Shannon and Shelby are supposed to get in a car and drive to Maine. Like,
Yeah.
shortly
2
after
days
that.
later. It's fine. I had a root canal and worked later that day.
I don't understand what that means, I guess.
Root canals
I've never...
aren't... Okay, like, I've had a root canal before. To me, it wasn't any worse than a filling. Like,
That's the
it's
thing, I've
fine.
never had a filling. I've never had a cavity.
Oh. How? Nothing against you, just normally people have had at
She
least
has
one.
perfect teeth.
I don't have perfect teeth. I have yellow corn niblets, but something about being a redhead, it's true. They're so gross. I brush them sometimes,
Okay,
but
well, I
I've
have
never had a
filling on
cavity
mine, so,
because, like, something to do with redheads, and, like, we have just all the enamel.
Okay,
So
I
Yeah.
have literally, so they took x-rays in addition to those pictures that I sent you guys of my tooth. They took
Yes.
x-rays, and, like, as I was leaving, the dentist was like, so when's the last time you got your teeth cleaned, like, by a dentist? And I was like, it's been a minute, because, like, I haven't gone to the dentist because I didn't have dental insurance and the pandemic and all this, so I just haven't been going. And he was like, yeah, I can see a couple cavities just on this side. And I was like, yeah, I know. I have, like, 3 on the other side, too. It's fine. We'll get them at the end of the month.
oh my god.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So I'm getting the root canal, and then sometime after we get back from Maine, I will have a crown put on, which I also have 2 crowns, so, like, it's fine. And then at the end of the month, I'm going in and getting all my cavities filled, so yay! It's more just that
Gross.
I have to pay up front, and then my insurance will reimburse me for the portion that they cover. And that's a lot of money.
That's stupid.
Oh, I know, but the other place, so they gave me 2 referrals for, like, 2 different doctors just to see who could get me in the quickest. The other place literally never called me back. And I left a message well over 24 hours ago. They just never answered me. So I didn't really have any other choice. But,
Oh, I thought of an announcement.
Yeah.
okay.
I saw a car accident on the way home.
Oh, God!
Oh my goodness.
It wasn't, like, bad. It was... Okay, because people in New England pass on the shoulder for everything.
God.
And it's really dangerous and really stupid.
Yeah.
And this guy in, like, a sporty little car did it and sideswiped this old man in, like, a bigger, like, kind of, like, Buick-y thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh my goodness.
the young guy got out and it knocked... If this tells you what kind of car he was driving, it knocked off his spoiler. And he got out and was, like, screaming and freaking out at this old man. And I was like, am I supposed to stop at this accident? But then, like, another
No,
person who
you're
was
fine.
closer to it, because I was
Yeah.
like on the other side of the stoplight.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no one was hurt.
It's
They both
generally
pulled
only
over.
if, like, someone gets hurt or something, then
Also,
you
the
can,
police
like...
station was the next block over, so I was like,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
this escalates, they're right there.
Yeah. You as a bystander have no duty to intervene in a traffic accident or to even be present at an accident. Like, you're
Okay.
fine. It's
Good,
fine.
because the stress of that was killing
At least
me.
as far as I'm aware. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can stay and, like, give a statement, especially
Yeah.
if it's, like, a bad one. Like, a
Yeah.
bad accident, just
But, like, if
for,
you
like,
go
insurance
home,
purposes. But,
it's
like,
fine.
they can't do anything
No, you're
to
fine.
you.
Yeah.
It's fine. And then the other announcement is we're leaving on Saturday to go see Huna.
Yeah.
And on the way there, we're
Yay.
stopping to see the Mothman statue. Which I'm
Yeah.
very
But-
excited about. Yeah, so.
Oh, we're We already planned to take pictures and get souvenirs and possibly Mothman-themed food.
Yeah. I have to drop off Maisie at dog boarding, so I will be sobbing for most of the drive. It's fine.
Yeah.
I've never left her like that before. She's never been in boarding. She'll be fine. It's the place she goes to doggy daycare and she loves it there. Like, it'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It just makes me sad.
She's never been away from Maisie for this long.
No, I have. It's just she's been with people that she knows and hasn't been at
That's
a kennel.
true, yeah. She's been with me.
Yeah, she's been with
your
you.
other roommates.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fine, though. Okay. If we're good, we can probably go on to topic now.
I'm good. Are we good to start?
I think so.
Cool.
I changed my slide. I'm happy with it.
Okay. What are we talking about?
I've never heard of this before.
And I do not claim to be an expert on this in any way. I'm honestly just going to be reading off of Wikipedia.
That's like our standard disclaimer, not declaration. That's our standard disclaimer.
And declaration.
Yeah.
We know
declare
nothing.
that I'm stupid. Okay. Today we're going to talk about the St. Patrick's Battalion, or the San Patricios.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know
My
what that
sources are Wikipedia, Irish Central, the American Loser podcast, thoughtco.com, the Smithsonian Magazine, and American Magazine. And then a couple of songs that I listened to.
Okay.
Nice.
I don't know if you're supposed to... Whatever. It was a Chieftain song and an Elders song, which are two of my favorite bands. And they had songs about this. Anyway.
Okay.
Oh.
So, first I'm going to read you the introduction to this really great article in American Magazine by James T. Keane. All right. So you can go to the first slide. St. Patrick's Day, a long... Whoa. I'm quitting. I'm jumping out the window. Goodbye.
Right out the gate.
Right out of the gate. Okay. St. Patrick's Day, long an occasion for U.S. residents of all ethnic extractions to eat corned beef and cabbage, drink green beer, and above all, behave in ways otherwise considered beyond the pale, has been an occasion of pride for Irish Americans since the 1700s. Less recognition of Irish culture anymore, it's a celebration of Irish American prosperity and cultural acceptance in the United States. The residents of Ireland are largely baffled by it. They are puzzled first by the corned beef, because cabbage goes with bacon, and no one in Ireland knows what corned beef is. It wasn't until the 1990s that Irish municipalities figured out that overseas tourists were delighted with the Shurin Bagora shtick and started sponsoring parades and festivals for what had long been a religious holiday as much as a civic one. It remains a national holiday in Ireland and tradition observed here in American media. Many Irish expatriates in the United States oh my god, see, it's written really well and I just can't read. Many an Irish expatriate in the United States is appalled that our most famous manifestation of Fenian culture is a day marked by 20-somethings vomiting in gutters and by emergency rooms overflowing with cases of alcohol poisoning. A fitting tribute to the land of saints and scholars, no? But there is also a little bit of crack, like Irish C-R-A-I-C.
Mm-hmm.
Not often told on this side of the pond that might confound the proud Irish American today. The story of El Battalion de los San Patricios, the St. Patrick's Battalion, two companies of Irish soldiers that fought in the Mexican-American War. Their Mexican comrades called them the San Patricios after their patron saint, and sometimes Los Colorados for their red hair and ruddy complexion, or, who are we kidding, sunburns. They were also noted for their enthusiasm for strong drink, with one historian recording that, quote, they distill a strong and intoxicating spirituous liquor from pulque, which they call mezcal. It has a sort of smoky taste, resembling Irish poteen. Alright, so we're going to talk about the St. Patrick's Battalion.
Cool.
Okay.
Slide 2, or 4, whatever we're on. The Mexican-American War, aka Manifest Destiny, is dumb.
Yes. Agreed.
Yes.
Do tell us why, though.
Okay, so,
That sounded scripted. What the fuck was that?
oh, interesting. Please, continue. I wish I knew more about this topic. If only there was someone to share more information with me.
That sounded like to me. Oh my god,
It
that
sounded
was
like
funny.
a bad PBS commercial. Wow, Hannah, that sounds so interesting. Do tell us more.
Well, Shelby, I have here with me the very thing that can tell you more about this subject, which is the Mexican-American War, and that is the copy and pasted Wikipedia article in a PowerPoint.
Beautiful. Love it.
For 3 easy payments of $49.99, this PowerPoint can be yours.
Our PowerPoints are free, friends.
No, 3 payments of $49.99.
No, we're gonna turn him into an NFT. Like,
Yeah. Yes, let's do it.
My cat is looking at me like she might kill me. Are you?
I mean, to
are
be
you up here
fair,
to be naughty or what?
it is Peppa.
I'm really scared she's gonna bite me. Can you go away?
can you go away?
Don't get away from me. Get away. Okay, she's gone. So the Mexican-American War was a. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm
I
just
tried to
tired.
swallow while I was talking. Also, remember that picture I sent you a minute ago of the snow that was kind of covering my driveway? There's an inch now, at least.
Gross.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
Gross.
I hope I have a snow day tomorrow. That'd be so nice. Okay, anyway. The Mexican-American War was an armed conflict between the United States and Mexico from 1846 to 1848. It followed the 1845 U.S. annexation of Texas, which Mexico considered Mexican territory since the Mexican government did not recognize the Velasco Treaty signed by Mexican General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna when he was a prisoner of the Texian Army during the 1836 Texas Revolution. The Republic of Texas was de facto an independent country, but most of its citizens wished to be annexed by the United States. Okay, so basically, the U.S. was like, we're taking all of this territory, which is called the Texas territory. And Texas was a lot more than just Texas, what we think of as the state of Texas.
Yeah.
It was also like parts of Arizona and stuff. It was just a lot of things.
Was this the one that James K. Polk kind of like...
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I can never remember if it's that one or the Spanish-American War.
No, the Spanish-American War is when the USS Maine blew up, and then we were like...
Right, okay.
It was Spain!
I get
and
the
it was
wars
not
mixed
Spain.
up. Like, ugh. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So, basically, domestic sectional politics in the United States were preventing annexation since Texas would have been a slave state, upsetting the balance of power between northern free states and southern slave states. Wow, that's really hard to say. And so in the 1844 United States presidential election, Democrat James K. Polk was elected on a platform of expanding U.S. territory in Oregon and Texas. Polk advocated for the expansion either by peaceful means or armed force, with the 1845 annexation of Texas furthering that goal by peaceful means. Except...
Right. Sorry, I'm remembering that this played into the Donner Party. That's what it was. Okay. Sorry. I've been spending so long being like, I know we've talked about this before, but when did we talk about it? It was when we talked about the Donner Party. Sorry, continue. Yeah, because remember, that was why they couldn't get, like, military aid, because everybody was busy dealing with the Mexican-American
War.
War.
We were having a war against the Mexicans and also the Irish? Question mark?
Yeah.
But, okay, yeah. So, however, the boundary between Texas and Mexico was disputed, with the Republic of Texas and the United States asserting it to be the Rio Grande River. Rio Grande. I'm so bad at Spanish. I should know better. My sisters speak Spanish. Oh, that's an announcement. Happy birthday, Kimberly. My
There
baby
you go.
sister turned 19 today, and
She's
I feel
19.
sick.
God.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Don't you
Jesus
feel old?
Christ.
Don't
Yes.
you feel old?
Yes,
She's-
I do feel old.
I felt old when Emma graduated high school. Now she's married
Turned
and like
19.
Jesus.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
Kimberly
God,
goes
okay.
to Swick.
I don't like that.
Don't you feel old and disgusting? Anyway,
I do.
whatever.
Yes, thank you.
God. Okay.
Wow, that came out of nowhere.
You
We're
were
not
talking about how you
speak
the
Spanish.
Rio Grande.
Speak Spanish.
Okay,
Yes.
but actually that's not where the border was. Both Mexico and the United States claimed the disputed area and sent troops. Polk sent U.S. Army troops to the area. He also sent a diplomatic mission to Mexico to try to negotiate the sale of the territory. U.S. troops' presence was designed to lure Mexico into starting the conflict, putting the onus on Mexico and allowing Polk to agree to Congress that a declaration of war should be issued. So basically, Polk, sent the army out there and held them in front of them like sort of a red flag in front of a bull and was like, hey, let's come fight us, ha ha ha.
And since Mexico technically attacked first, quote unquote, then Polk could be like, but we got attacked, like we need to go to war,
we're defending ourselves. No, you just walked in and stole Mexico. Oh my god. Anyway, Mexican forces ended up attacking US forces, and so Congress was like, war. So you know what? That's all I'm going to talk to you about that, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you have any other questions that I could...
No. I know about this war now that I remember, what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically just that. We tricked them into starting a war, quote unquote.
So you can go to the next slide. Now we're going to talk... Is Shelby back?
Yes, she's back.
Oh, okay. Hello. Now we are going to talk about John Riley, who's... whatever. We're going to talk about John Riley. So, Sean Patrick O'Reilly was born in Clifton, County Galway, Ireland, around 1817 or 1818. Another source said it was 1805. We don't really know. Back then, no records.
That happens.
But he went by John Riley, sometimes Juan Rael, sometimes John O'Reilly, sometimes Sean Riley. It's just like John in all of those languages, in Irish and in Spanish and everything.
Yeah.
So Riley was born in County Galway, Ireland, sometime between 1805 and 1818. Like I said, we're not really so sure. And Ireland was very poor at the time, and the famine, was happening right after that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like many of the Irish of the time, Riley ended up emigrating to Canada, where he likely served in a British Army regiment, just because that's what you could do.
Yeah.
But he later moved to Michigan and enlisted in the U.S. Army before the Mexican-American War. So as the Mexican... you can go to the next slide. When the Mexican-American War started, by April of 1846, Riley had been promoted to a lieutenant and had organized... Oh, wait a minute. Riley defected. Let me back up. Riley defected from the U.S. Army because he felt like, as an Irish person and as a Catholic, that the very Protestant, anti-immigrant Manifest Destiny, Monroe Doctrine, all of those things. I don't know. Just shove them all together. Magna Carta. It was all the same. But all those things sort of were working against people like him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he realized as the war continued that he and his fellow Irishmen had way more in common with the Mexican people, because they were majority of them were Catholic. They were being invaded by an imperialist nation, and having to defend themselves and their country from invaders, who were very much like the British and what Riley had experienced in Ireland, growing up with the famine and with the British taking all of the potatoes. Did you know that the famine in Ireland wasn't because of... there was the blight in the potatoes, but it was all manufactured. The British just took all their food. Yeah. It wasn't like there was a lack of food. It was just that the British were trying to commit a genocide.
Yeah, they were actively trying to kill all the Irish people,
were trying
so
to
that they could
wipe
take
out
the land.
Ireland.
I'm just bringing that up for people who don't know. Anyway,
I was gonna say there's probably quite a few people who don't know that, but yes.
Yeah. It wasn't that the potato crop failed. There were parts, yes, where the potato crop did fail. But that is not the reason why everyone's... But the main reason why people died was because of the British being dicks. So anyway, so John Riley sees this happening in Mexico, and he's like, wow, familiar. I understand this. So by 1846, he's promoted to lieutenant and had organized a unit comprised of 48 Irishmen who joined the Mexican army. They all defected. They're like, fuck this. We're not fighting for these people who it was so weird because the army was like very strictly Protestant. They didn't have any other services. And they were also like super dickbags about it. So John Riley and all the other Irishmen were like, you know what? We're just going to go hang out with these other Catholics who are fighting an imperialist superpower, and fuck them. Let's just do it.
Yep.
I support this. Yeah,
I know, it's so cool. So more and more, where was I? More and more deserters came over from the American side by August 1846, and he eventually had over 200 men in his battalion. Wow. The unit was named El Battalion de San Patricio, or the St. Patrick's Battalion, in honor of Ireland's patron saint. So they marched together under a green banner, not this one. This is just a cool picture I found. So they marched under a green banner with an image of St. Patrick on one side and the Irish harp emblem on the other side, and the emblem of Mexico. So like this, because you see it's the Mexican eagle on top of the harp of Erin. And then underneath it said Erin go Bra, which means Ireland forever. So many of these San Patricios were skilled artillerymen. That's what John Riley was specialized in. He actually taught cadets at West Point for a little bit before this. So like I said, most of these defectors came over because of the discrimination. So during the Mexican-American War, thousands of men deserted on both sides because conditions were harsh and more men died of illness and exposure than in combat. And life in the U.S. was particularly tough on Irish Catholics. They were seen as lazy, ignorant, and foolish. They were given dirty and dangerous jobs and promoted with promotions were virtually non-existent. Those who joined the enemy side most likely did so for the promise of land and money out of loyalty to Catholicism. Mexico, like Ireland, was a Catholic nation. The St. Patrick's Battalion was comprised of foreigners, mainly Irish Catholics. There were some German Catholics as well, and some foreigners who lived in Mexico before the war. I read somewhere that there were also a lot of French in the regiment
that would make sense as well.
Yeah. So it's just like a bunch of Catholics who were like, fuck these Protestants who are just being dicks again. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. It sucks. And also this was a time in the United States when there was a lot of hatred towards immigrants from European immigrants. Just everybody. It didn't matter. I don't know. Just Irish need not apply.
Yeah.
Okay, next slide. So we're going to talk about the flag for a second because there was a lot written about.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. That came out of nowhere. There was a lot written about their flag. So John Riley left an account of the battalion and noted the flag in a letter, and he said, quote, "In all my letter, I forgot to tell you under what banner we fought so bravely. It was that glorious emblem of native rights, that being the banner which should have floated over our native soil many years ago. It was St. Patrick, the harp of Erin, the shamrock upon a green field." And then there was an American journalist who was covering the war in Mexico named George Wilkins Kendall, and he said, quote, "The banner is of green silk, and on one side is a harp, surmounted by the Mexican coat of arms, with a scroll on which is painted Libertad por la República Mexicana. Under the harp is the motto Erin go Bra. On the other side is a painting made to represent St. Patrick. In his left hand is a key, and in his right is a crooked staff resting upon a serpent. Underneath is painted San Patricio." It just sounds like such a cool flag.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Anyway. So two other eyewitness accounts of the flag exist, and both are from American soldiers. So they described it as, quote, "a beautiful green silk banner which waved over their heads. On it glittered a silver cross with a golden harp, embroidered by the hands of the fair nuns of San Luis Potosi? I don't know. And then another one so that was by Samuel E. Chamberlain. And then this last one is, "Among the mighty hosts we passed was O'Reilly, his company of deserters bearing aloft in high disgrace the holy banner of St. Patrick. So I just thought that was kind of funny. That was from a Kentucky cavalryman.
Oh my god.
I broke. Cavalryman.
There we go.
Cavalryman.
Okay. Let's move on.
Okay.
Right. So this is a picture of a battle. I believe this is this. The Battle of Churubusco. Yeah, that's what we're going with. Okay, so Riley and a company of 48 Irishmen manned a Mexican artillery at the siege of Fort Texas, which took place concurrently with two other battles. Martin Tristler, a German-Mexican, which I don't know why that's really funny to me, but it is. It's just those two languages don't seem like they could go together.
No.
Because, no offense Germans, but not Mexican, Spanish is like very lyrical and beautiful, and German is like... As a once native German speaker, I can say that, and a captain at the Battle of Cerro Gordo. So this German-Mexican captain at the Battle of Cerro Gordo is attributed with convincing a large number of German soldiers to defect from the U.S. occupying forces in Puebla, and then they went over to, John Riley, and that's how we got all those Germans. The St. Patrick's Battalion first fought as a recognized Mexican unit in the Battle of Monterrey on the 21st of September, 1846, as an artillery battery. Popularly, they were called Los Colorados by the Mexicans because of their ruddy, sunburnt complexions and their red hair. Hurtful, but accurate.
But I was gonna say...
No, it's accurate. It's fine. It's accurate.
Can't say it's
Hannah,
not
you got
true.
a sunburn through a band uniform.
Shannon, I got a second-degree sunburn through
You
a band
did.
uniform.
You got a second-degree sunburn
I was not allowed
through
in
a
the
wool
sun
band
for a
uniform.
month.
No, you were
Oh
not.
my God.
I had blisters.
I know you did.
Oh my god.
So at the Battle of Monterrey, the San Patricios proved their artillery skills by causing the deaths of many American soldiers, and they are credited with defeating 2 to 3 separate assaults in the heart of the city. Among their targets were companies led by such officers as Braxton Bragg, many of whose soldiers would end up in their own ranks later in the war. Their tenacity, however, did not affect the Mexican commander's decision to capitulate and abandon their position. So, even when the Mexican leaders ran away, the Irish were there. Because they're like, we'll fucking die before we do anything else.
I mean,
because that
sounds right.
is the way. So following the engagement at Monterrey, the San Patricios grew in number, by some estimates reaching an enlistment of over 700 men. Forces reassembled at San Luis why is this hard for me? Potosi, yeah. And they had their distinct green silk flag embroidered there. So remember that quote that the nuns had embroidered it? Mm-hmm. So that's where they got their banner. All right, so the St. Patrick's Battalion saw limited action at the Siege of Monterrey, as they were stationed in a massive fortress that American General Zachary Taylor decided to avoid entirely. So even though they were up there with their cannons and stuff, Zachary Taylor was like, let's not.
Let's just avoid that.
Let's stay away from the crazy Irish people with explosives. So they were stationed alongside the main road on a plateau where the main Mexican assault took place. They won an artillery duel with an American unit and even made off with some American cannons. When Mexican defeat was imminent, they helped to cover the retreat. Several San Patricios won a Cross of Honor medal for valor during the battle, including Riley, who was also promoted to captain. So later they went to Mexico City, and after the Americans opened another front, the San Patricios accompanied Mexican General Santa Anna to the east of Mexico City. They saw action at the Battle of Cerro Gordo, although their role in that battle has been largely lost to history. It was at the Battle of Chapultepec Chapultepec. Wait. Chapultepec. I hate my brain.
I would say Chapultepec, but I don't know if that's right.
Chapultepec? Sure.
Yeah. I don't know Spanish, but that flows better in my mind.
Chapultepec. Sure. That they had made a name for... so it was at this battle that they made a name for themselves. As the Americans attacked Mexico City, the battalion was stationed at one end of a key bridge in a nearby convent. Holy shit. Convent. Woo! Okay.
You were doing really good there for a while.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. I can't read.
What else is new?
Shannon, get your little freaking clicker out of here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. They held the bridge. They held the bridge in the convent for hours against superior troops and weapons. When the Mexicans in the convent tried to surrender, the San Patricios tore down the white flag 3 times. They were eventually overwhelmed once they ran out of ammunition. Most of the San Patricios were killed or captured at the Battle of Churubusco, because that last word means to look. Churubusco, ending its effective life as a unit, although it would reform after the war with the survivors and last for about another year. Okay, so let's break down that battle a little bit. So this is I believe this is the abbey where they had that last battle. Or the convent, the covenant, whatever I said. The convent. Okay, just need to take a deep breath.
Yuki, can you not?
I am so tie-tie. Alright, so despite their excellent performance in number of engagements as an artillery, the much reduced San Patricios were ordered to muster a large infantry battalion, as well as a cavalry unit in mid-1847, by personal order of Santa Anna. It was renamed the Foreign Legion of Patricios, and consisted, because by this point it was like, everybody was in it, the Germans, the French, the Irish, and consisted of volunteers from many European countries, commanded by Colonel Francisco R. Moreno, with Riley in charge of the first company, and Santiago O'Leary, which is the best fucking name I've ever heard in my life. Santiago O'Leary.
Santiago O'Leary.
Where are you from? I like it. Desertion handbills were produced, specially targeting Irish Catholics, French, German immigrants in the invading U.S. Army, and stated, "You must not fight against a religious people, nor should you be seen in the ranks of those who proclaim slavery of mankind as a constitutive principle. Liberty is not on the part of those who desire to be lords of the world, robbing properties and territories which do not belong to them, and shedding so much blood in order to accomplish their views in open war to the principles of our holy religion." So that's kind of rad. They're like, don't sign up with these guys. 1, they hate you. 2, they like slavery. 3, they're dicks. It's like,
how much more convincing do you need?
I've literally listed all the things there are. So yeah, that was what they were kind of handing out to people to be like, hey, you should leave that army and join our army. Okay, so at the Battle of Churubusco, oh my god, I know that word. Churubusco. Anyway, on the 20th of August, 1847, it took place about 4 months after the defeat at Cerro Gordo. So General Santa Anna gave a verbal order to, quote, preserve the point at all risk. The San Patricio companies initially met the attackers outside the walls of the convent. Hold on, my cat is jumping in front of my finger. Can you please leave? Peppa, we're in the middle of a battle. So the companies initially met the attackers outside the walls of the convent, which is about 500 yards from a fortified convent. Wow, I know I cut a part out of that sentence, but now that I've read it out loud, it does not make sense anymore. Whatever. They were stationed outside this convent, the one in the picture. So a battery of 3 to 5 heavy cannons were used from this position to hold off the Americans advancing along with the support of Los Independencia Battalion and Los Bravos Battalion. Why do you guys let me do things in foreign languages?
Okay, Hannah, to be fair, you could barely do this in English.
I know. Why am I allowed to be here? Who let me out of my house this morning? Sorry. Okay. The Americans were under the command of Colonel William Hoffman. Several U.S. charges towards the bridgehead were thrown up. Oh my god! Why would you make that a compound word? That's stupid. You know what should be a compound word? Sorry, not to ADHD on you, but anything with the preposition in should just be one word, like in charge, in front.
We have talked about this.
I know we've talked about this, but today I made flashcards for prepositions, and I was like, this is so stupid. Why don't we just say one word? Whatever. Okay. Alright, so skipping down onto here. Alright, so a lack of ammunition led the Mexican soldiers in the Yes. A lack of ammunition led the Mexican soldiers in the trenches between the bridgehead and the convent to disband. So without ammunition, they had no way to fight back. Santa Anna had ordered half of these soldiers to a different part of the battlefield. When the requested ammunition wagon finally arrived, the 9.5, I don't know what this means, drachm cartridges. Anyway, the bullets did not fit in the guns. So they had these muskets called the Brown Bess muskets, and these bullets that they sent for them to reload. Sorry, I was going to say refuel, but that's not what that means. To reload were not compatible. Okay. Further hampering the Mexican efforts, a stray spark from an artillery piece firing grape shot at the oncoming U.S. troops caused the just-arrived ammunition to explode and set fire to several men, including Captain O'Leary and General Anaya. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So that's not so good.
No.
So then there was a withdrawal behind the walls of the convent because they were being outflanked. The San Patricios used this battle as a chance to settle old scores with U.S. troops. Quote, "The large number of officers killed in the affair was ascribed to them as for the gratification of their revenge. They aimed at no other objects during the engagement." So they went after, like, the top brass because they were pissed. Can you blame them? I don't know.
No.
Because the guy who's just, like, the regular conscripted soldier is just like your cousin or your neighbor or your brother. Mm-hmm. But those officers, they're the ones who are jerks. And I say that as the child of an officer, but, like, you know, at the time. You know what I mean, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I 100% know what you mean. Again, as the child of an officer.
As the offspring of a officer.
I was going to say as the officer of a child, and that just does not work.
I'm an officer of a child.
You are.
Okay. At some point during the fighting for the convent, 2 American officers led 15 men against the point in the Mexican defenses and mistook San Patricio members for friendly U.S. Army troops. The San Patricios opened fire, killing or wounding all but one of the group. So that sucks. Anyway, though hopelessly outnumbered and under-equipped, the defenders repelled the attacking U.S. force with heavy losses until their ammunition ran out and a Mexican officer raised a white flag of surrender. Officer Patrick Dalton of the San Patricios tore the white flag down, prompting General Pedro whatever, I can't read, to order his men to fight on with their bare hands if necessary. Because remember, they ran out of bullets. American Private Battalion reported that when the Mexicans attempted to raise the white flag 2 more times, members of the San Patricio shot and killed them. So the Irish are like, I know we're fighting for you, but like, have you ever heard of the Fighting Irish? Because we can't stop until we are dead.
We do not give up. We do not surrender.
Yeah, no. So they're like shooting people on their own side now because they're like, fuck it, we're gonna keep fighting. So it's kind of like chaos at this point. After brutal close quarter fighting with bayonets and sabers through the halls and rooms of inside the convent, U.S. Army Captain James M. Smith suggested a surrender after raising his white handkerchief. Following the U.S. victory, the Americans, quote, ventilated their vocabulary of Saxon expletives, not very courteously, on Riley and his beautiful disciple of St. Patrick.
That's a sentence.
So
yes,
they just started like swearing and being mean to the Irish.
They could have just said they cussed them out. Why?
Right.
Shannon, it's 1845. I don't know.
I know.
Or 1840. What the hell year is it? 47. All right. So, in his battle report, General Anaya, yeah, I don't know. I've said it different every single time. All right, whatever. Anaya. Okay. Well, in Spanish, aren't you supposed to say every single vowel unless it has an accent on it, and then you say it a different way? Every letter, right? I don't know. What? I don't know. I'm confusing myself so much. I'm just gonna stop talking. Well, I'm not gonna stop talking. I'm gonna stop talking about that. Moving on. So in his battle report, he reported that 35 San Patricios were killed, 85 were taken prisoner, including a wounded John Riley, Captain O'Leary, and himself. About 85 escaped with retreating Mexican forces, Some 60% of the San Patricios were killed or captured in the engagement. The survivors were reformed before the Battle of Mexico City, some 2 weeks later, and were stationed at a place with, like, they were basically like the bodyguard of the guy in charge of Mexico. So, following the war, the Mexican government insisted in a clause in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo that the remaining San Patricio prisoners held by the Americans were to be left in Mexico, and Major General William Orlando Butler issued General Order Number 116 on June 1st, 1848 that stated, quote, "The prisoners confined at the citadel known as the San Patricio prisoners will be immediately discharged. Rogue's March was played upon their release." The St. Patrick's Battalion continued to function as 2 infantry companies under the command of John Riley, with one unit tasked with the sentry duty in Mexico City, and the other was stationed in the suburbs of Guadalupe Hidalgo. All right, so let's talk about what happened while they were captured and being punished. So Riley was among the 85 San Patricios captured during the battle. They were court-martialed, and most of them were found guilty of desertion. Between September 10th and 13th, 1847, 50 of them would be hanged in punishment for their defection to the other side. Riley, although he was the highest profile among them, was not hanged. He had defected before the war officially had been declared, and such defection in peacetime was a far less serious offense. Still, Riley, by then a major and the highest-ranking foreign officer in the San Patricios, was punished harshly. His head was shaved, he was given 50 lashes, witnesses say that the count was botched and that Riley actually received more like 59, and he was branded with a D for deserter on his cheek. When the brand was first put on upside down, he was rebranded on the other cheek. So that fucking sucks. I feel like they did that on purpose. After that, he was thrown in a dungeon for the duration of the war, which lasted several more months. In spite of this harsh punishment, there were those in the American army who felt he should have been hanged with the others. After the war, Riley and the others were released and reformed the St. Patrick's Battalion. The unit soon became embroiled in the constant infighting among Mexican officials, and Riley was briefly jailed for suspicion of participating in an uprising, but he was later freed. Records indicate that a, quote, Juan Riley died on August 31st, 1850, were once believed to refer to him, but new evidence that indicates that this is not the case. Efforts are ongoing to determine Riley's true fate. So no one really knows what happened to him, but a Dr. Michael Hogan says, quote, "The search for the burial place of the true John Riley, Mexican major, a decorated hero, and leader of the Irish Battalion must continue." So in all, 50 people of the St. Patrick's Battalion were executed. And this is the largest mass execution in United States history. The execution of the St. Patrick's Battalion. There were 38 Sioux hanged at the end of the Dakota War, but there were 50 people hanged from the St. Patrick's Battalion. So that sucks that that's their legacy. Anyway, so on September 30th, Sol San Patricio was murdered by an American soldier when he was recognized among the prisoners of war in the aftermath of the Battle of Molino del Rey. And yeah, well, he was thrown. This San Patricio was thrown into a mill flume and crushed by the wheel. So that sucks. At the San Angel hangings, all the prisoners were executed without incident except for one Patrick Dalton, who, as an American captain, was described as literally choked to death. Because hangings are so... If you don't know how to be a hangman, then don't. Yeah. Let me see. Backing up. By order of General Winfield Scott, 30 of the San Patricios to be executed in how did you say it, Shannon? Chapultepec? Well, anyway. Chipotle? Sorry. No, Chapultepec. My friend's daughter has, I guess my friend, has a cat named Chip, which is short for Chipotle, and she only has 3 legs. She's very cute. Okay, anyway, sorry. So they were to be hanged in view of the 2 armies, and at the precise moment that the flag of the U.S. was replaced with the flag of Mexico atop the citadel. This order was carried out by Colonel William Harney. Harney was taunted and jeered by the condemned men. While overseeing the of course he was. While overseeing the hangings, Harney ordered Francis O'Connor hanged even though he had both legs amputated the previous day. While the army surgeon informed the colonel that the absent soldier had lost both legs in battle, Harney replied, "Bring the damn son of a bitch out. My order was to hang 30, and by God, I'll do it." Papa just screamed behind me. I don't know. So, like I said about the Sioux being hanged, there were 50 members of the St. Patrick's Battalion who were hanged, but I believe they were hanged on separate days. I think it was 20 and then 30, but it was still, like, this whole battalion. Okay. Just to clarify that. So, let's talk about the legacy of John Riley. You can go to slide 11. So this is a statue of John Riley, and it's literally, if you Google a picture of him, this is the only thing that comes up. I don't think that there are, like, any drawings or anything of him. Yeah. So to Americans, Riley is a deserter and a traitor, the lowest of the low. To Mexicans, however, Riley is a great hero, a skilled soldier who fought his conscience and joined the enemy because he thought it was the right thing to do. The St. Patrick's Battalion has a place of great honor in Mexican history. There are many streets named for it, memorial plaques where they fought, postage stamps, etc. Riley is the name most commonly associated with the battalion, and he has, therefore, gained extra heroic status for Mexicans, who have erected statues of him in his birthplace of Clifton, Ireland. The Irish have returned the favor, and there's a bust of Riley now in the San Angel Plaza, courtesy of Ireland. Americans of Irish descent who once disowned Riley and the battalion have warmed to them in recent years. Perhaps in part due to the couple of good books that have come out recently. Also, there was a major Hollywood production in 1999 entitled, quote, One Man's Hero, which is based very loosely on the life of Riley and the battalion. Yeah, that it was the war of... Honestly, you could call that the War of Northern Aggression, because that's what that was. Yeah, well. So, you can go to the last slide. There are 2 days in which Mexico honors the St. Patrick's Brigade. September 12th is generally accepted as the anniversary of the executions of the battalion members who were captured by the U.S. Army, and then on March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, they also celebrate them. So numerous schools, churches, and other landmarks in Mexico take their name from the battalion, including in Monterrey, the street in front of the Irish school named Battalion de San Patricio. In Mexico City, the street in front of the San Maria de Churubusco convent was named Martyrs Irlandes, which is the Irish martyrs. The Wall of Honor in Mexico's Chamber of Deputies had a ceremony on October 28th, 2002, with where they put an inscription that says "Defenders of the Motherland," and then it has like the St. Patrick Battalion. Bandas de Gaitas del Battalion de San Patricio, which is the St. Patrick's Battalion Pipes and Drums. It's the only bagpipe band in Mexico, and it's named after the battalion. It's so cool. Then there's the San Patricio Station, which is a metro station. I don't know where that is, though. Anyway, there are also a number, like, because, you know, Irish music is, like, 98% ballads, so there are a lot of songs based off of them. So there's the St. Patrick's Battalion by the Elders, the St. Patrick's Battalion by the Wakes, the San Patricio, an album by the Chieftains, and the song in there that's about them is called, it's something Crossing the Rio. It's very good. Wish I could think of the name, but it's by the Chieftains. I love the Chieftains. San Patricio Brigade by Black 47, San Patricios by Street Dogs, St. Patrick's Brave Brigade by Damien Dempsey, the St. Patrick's Battalion by David Rovix, the Saint by David Rom 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 by by David Rum, 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 by David. Thanks for listening to The Triad. Our music is by Scott Buckley. Our audio is recorded by our sound engineers, Craig Bott and Audrey Credo.
If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, YouTube, and Tumblr as The Triad Podcast.
We're also on Patreon as The Triad. Currently, all Patreon funds will go towards the cost of hosting the show. Each tier has its own rewards, but every patron receives our undying gratitude. Do you have comments, questions, or stories? Email us at thetriadpod@gmail.com. And thank you again for listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive.